The stories shared on the Busy Baddies are submitted by real listeners and are intended for entertainment and discussion purposes only. To protect the privacy of everyone involved, all names, companies, and identifying details have been changed or omitted. Any resemblance to real people or events are purely coincidental. We believe in keeping it real while keeping it respectful. Thank you for sharing your experiences and for trusting us to spill the tea with care. Welcome back, baddies. We're Michelle and Melissa, and this is season 3 of the Busy Baddies. If the last year has taught us anything, it's this: being busy isn't the same as building the life that you actually want. We've experienced unexpected endings, incredible new beginnings, heartbreaking losses, career pivots, and moments that forced us to ask ourselves one simple question: what really matters?
This season, we're having the conversations everyone needs, but not enough people are willing to have: leadership, reinvention, confidence, failure, success, boundaries, faith, business, relationships, and the messy middle that connects it all. We're bringing you the honest conversations, inspiring guests, plenty of laughs, a few uncomfortable truths, and hopefully the encouragement you need to take your own next step.
So grab your coffee or your cocktail, because whether you're driving to work, walking the dog, or hiding in your office pretending you're on another Zoom call,
we're so glad you're here. This is the Busy Baddies, where busy women become better women. Let's get into it. Hey baddies, what's up? We're back with season 3, episode 2.
I know, which is crazy. How did everybody like episode 1?
I know. I re-listened to it and I'm just like, I love us. Like, these are so good.
Yeah.
So maybe we're just like tunnel vision of what we love. I don't know, or just that we love us so much. That
it was funny because I listened to it on the way into the office the other day, and I was like, I either black out or don't pay attention to what we talk about, because when I listened back to it, I was like, I don't remember that being the conversation, but it was like I can even learn things from listening to it.
Yes.
So I was like maybe it's good that I have out of body experiences when I record, because I'm like, I'm obviously like not retaining everything we're talking about.
Yeah, and like we've, I feel like season 1 we like tried to be really, really structured because we didn't know what the hell we were doing, and now we get in the room and we haven't
Just talk.
Yeah, like we have a topic or what we think we're gonna chat about, and like we hit record and we just yak until we're like, okay, that was good, and then here it is on the radio waves.
Yes. So we got another banger today, I feel like.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
So we are talking today about admin work coverage.
Yes.
So when we say coverage, speaking of if someone goes on maternity leave, if an executive has an admin that leaves the company or goes to a different role, I'm sure all of you are out there like, what? Who mean? Like, I never fill in for anybody or help out. So,
and I think this is one thing that probably looks different for everyone, every role, what type of admin you are, are you supporting a group, all of those things. But I felt like this would be really good to kind of chat about because, like you said, work coverage, what? And there may be some people that, what's that? I want work coverage. So when I leave, I can actually enjoy and have a vacation.
Yeah. And I think the flip side to that too is someone who has never maybe spoke up and said, I would love to help cover for someone who's maybe even above me, to give them either visibility into being able to support a higher up person, or, stretch them a little bit to get some stretch skills. So I think it'll be a really useful episode this week if you do cover, kind of giving you some groundwork even of like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
What does it mean? You need to know up front. Should you be compensated for that? And if so, how? How do you approach that conversation? Setting the expectation up front on the front end. So juggling your full-time stakeholder to adding someone else to your plate. So I feel like there's 100 different ways this conversation can go, but I think that it'll be a really good topic. So.
Yeah. So let's get into it.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah. So recently, or I should say earlier this year, on our team personally, we had an admin who was expecting, so going out on maternity leave. And I think for us, first off, it's kind of up to us individually to figure out who our coverage is going to be, who's it going to come from. And so for this particular situation, unfortunately, nobody from her team wanted to step in and take this opportunity. And I use the word opportunity because that's what it absolutely would have been for anybody on her admin team in her organization to do.
Because you guys are at the top of the leadership.
Right. Yeah. So, so after that, it kind of turned into a Hail Mary, if you will, of I'm leaving in a month and nobody's kind of stepped up. And, she came to me and was like, hey. Yeah. And honestly, I don't even know, maybe I could have went to her after I heard nobody was stepping in.
Yeah.
So once we kind of chatted and I was like, hey, look, this leader in particular had a lot of upcoming stuff planned for the time that she was going to be out, that they were going to be together on a lot of things.
Yep.
And so I said, hey, I'm happy to do it. I don't want you, you're going into your last month. You don't need to be worrying who's going to be helping out while you're out. And let me kind of go off track a little bit. That one, it's kind of one of those things that's a little irritating to me that's left upon us.
Sure. Yeah,
to figure out who's taking care of our leader when we are not around. I don't say that because I have the answer for who should be doing it, but I just wanted to kind of throw that in there.
Yeah.
So once we figured that out, what we started to do was have some weekly meetings of saying, hey,
great idea.
Because I had never supported this business. And this leader, I mean, obviously he's on our leadership team, so I know him, obviously no big deal. So she kind of just started pulling up his calendar. Obviously she had all of his trips that she knew were booked, ticketed, taken care of. And so I wasn't walking into this huge to-do list. So I was grateful that she took care of all of the things, had all the visas he was going to need, all that stuff. So I said, let's start a OneNote and you paste everything in there that I'm going to need, like his digital signature, should he have new travel and needs a random visa from somewhere, make sure I have all that information and his preferences and all of the things, right? So that was a huge help. And then, meeting weekly to just kind of start getting familiar with his calendar. So that's what we first initially did.
So there's a million things that come to mind, but the first thing is, why do you think no one wanted to step in that role? You know what I mean? Because it's is it the intimidation maybe of
totally could be for sure. I mean, I think it's one of those things of you don't know what you don't know. And if you aren't already in a place to where you're ready to make that move personally in your work portfolio, to have that kind of drop in your lap of oh my gosh, I have this opportunity. Am I ready?
Right.
So I think that could have been a huge deal that maybe nobody felt ready enough to take it or didn't want to mess up or, intimidation, all of the things. I mean, because supporting a leadership team member, I mean, that comes with, as comes with a whole different realm of responsibilities. There's board duties, all of the things that come with that. So it definitely could have been a number of those things. I wish that if somebody was thinking about it, maybe they were open enough to their admin to discuss, and maybe could have found them like a buddy on the team, and like maybe I could have alongside of somebody just
then there's a security blanket.
Exactly. And were those discussions had on the front end? I don't know, obviously. So that's something for many people to learn, hopefully through this, of let's talk about it. Like, let's put things on the table. Let's see what are the roadblocks, like what's keeping you from saying yes, because I think it could have been such a learning experience, especially if somebody was aspiring to be that.
Sure.
And it could have easily was like, nah, I don't want to do that, right? It could have easily, and you weren't committing long term, so you didn't have to worry about, oh, what if I do this and then I hate it? But
that's rough, because like even thinking through it, like I know the last leader that I worked for, I never had coverage because and I think that's maybe where I'm a little bit different, was I always thought if I ever do have coverage, I need to choose my coverage wisely, which is my first point that I wanted to make, because I think that that's very valuable to someone who is looking for someone to step up. They have to be a good personality match. They're going to represent you. Do they do good quality work? Are they going to treat the leader the way that you would? Like, what is the back end experience of that for the person that's being supported?
You definitely can't willy-nilly just be like, oh, you got your hand up? Sure, come on. Yeah, no,
so
agree.
It's like, and I think that's the control freak in me, was always like, man, I don't want to leave her in bad hands. Maybe she has higher needs, or she's more cantankerous, or she's intimidating, or, he's demanding and needs lunch every day. Like, there's just some things that you're going to be really self-conscious about when someone else comes in and looks at it. Plus, I think if we're all being honest, we all have insecurities around someone else stepping into our job, because there's always that, well, what if the person who fills in does it better than I did?
Oh, 1,000%.
And then I look inadequate when I come back. Are they going to second guess, am I really the right person for the role?
Yeah.
So that is like a big thing to me. And I was like, when you were talking about that, I was like, yeah, like I've been on that. And that's why I've never really had an uninterrupted vacation and nobody to cover, because I'm like, man, I just don't want to take that chance.
Yeah. And then I don't want to ignore the fact that in these roles, for some of us, it also means that you will never have an uninterrupted vacation. And, supporting a CEO, I am very mindful of that. And then for me, and it's a decision that I have personally made, that unless it is a very specific vacation with my husband, I am okay to take my laptop and my phone to make sure, like, if there is any emergency issue that isn't just calendar small potato stuff, that I can jump on and do what I need to do. And that's, I hope an item that my backfill or my coverage partner finds some relief in, that even though I am gone, I'm still reachable. Yeah.
And I think you covered something too on the second point that I had when we were talking about the topic, which is, before coverage starts, what do you actually need to know? So thinking through, to me, that weight is on the person that is asking for the help. And what does success look like? I think for everybody, to your point, that's very different. Some people may not have visas. Some people may not need electronic signatures. But I think over preparing someone, and to your point, even in a OneNote or a shared document, is vitally important, because what I always call that the yellow bus theory of, in your scenario, what if this person goes off on maternity leave and decides they don't want to come back after having a baby, and now this is an open role and we have to hand this over to someone?
Yeah, no, that's Exactly how I would put it is on the person needing the coverage. This does involve work on your end to make sure that you are leaving your person who is covering with all of the information they need, because nothing's going to look worse from that leader of going, oh, well, so-and-so didn't leave that for me. Like, I had no idea, or any of those things. I mean, that's not a good look on you as the person who's supposedly supporting them on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So make sure, if you are not somebody that already has a OneNote cheat sheet of the leader or the group that you support,
start it now.
Here is your sign.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not talking you need to write a handbook on how to do your job, but you should have all of the key information that somebody should need should you have to leave in an emergency, that, you know, your leader is not going to be too affected.
Right.
Of like needing a support person, because in these jobs, like, they rely heavily on us.
Yes. Because can you imagine if that information was not there, and going to that said leader and going, can I get a copy of your electronic signature? And do you know where your visa is for when you travel to X?
Yeah. Or this wasn't done. I'm going to need to know the birthdays of all of your kids, your wife, where were your mom and dad born? Like, this is all stuff that, you know, any of us who does international travel and visas, like
I have an electronic signature.
I mean, it's just the information we need to know to do our jobs is crazy. And sometimes I'm scratching my head, and I know we joke, like, do they need a vial of blood? Like, this seems ridiculous. And so, so that's that. And then I also, you know, what does coverage mean?
Yes, because every leader is so different.
Every leader is different. And I think we've talked many a times that admins, I mean, we work in so many different ways. There's admins that they don't touch email and all of the things. So also knowing what exactly does the coverage mean.
Yeah, and being clear of, like, you know, does your executive, do they expect you to get meals? Do you print out their calendar every day? Some people still have paper. You know, pre-reads, do they have a requirement? I mean, just think from the lens of, if I needed someone to literally sit in my seat and do my job as myself, what is the information they need to know?
Yeah, it's exactly.
Don't count on intuition and be like, oh, well, they should just know that. No, they don't.
Yeah.
Because they may not be doing that for their other leaders. So to them, that's going to be very foreign.
Yeah. And I, for the coverage that I did, it was also really nice that I met with the leader.
Yes, which is so good.
Yeah, which was really nice. You know, obviously grateful that, you know, they weren't going to be left on the side of the road while their admin was out. But it was really important because obviously they were on our leadership team. So he definitely knew the type of leader that I support.
Right.
And so it was hilarious because I walk into the room and the first thing he said was, I'm not like her,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
And I kind of joked and then immediately rebutted and said, I'm not like your admin.
Right. Yeah.
So it was very funny.
Yeah.
I think it was good because I think that we both learned a lot.
Which is great.
Which was fantastic. And again, when I take a step back, it kind of just made me even more disappointed that nobody from her team stepped up, because I even learned a lot, and I'm supporting the CEO of the company. And so the fact that, not that I certainly don't know everything, I'm not perfect, but I didn't go in and think he was going to teach me anything, right? I'm just like, okay, he's just a different leader. I'll you know, he works different, but to physically come back from that and learning something. And it was really great.
What a missed opportunity for the people on that team, though, is what I would say.
Yeah, and it really was. And it was for 5 months.
Yeah.
So, you know, she took an extended maternity leave, and I did not hear from her. I think I heard from her once, and it was because I had asked, like, I think maybe it was 3 weeks, and I just like, are you okay? Baby's okay. You guys are all doing fine. And I didn't bother her. Because,
which is so nice.
Other than that, I hope that she was able to completely unplug, you know, enjoy that time with her family and the changes.
I love that.
Yeah. So it was really cool.
I love that.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it to say like I'm ready for another second leader for 5 months. Towards the end of it, I was certainly feeling like the things starting to build. And I don't think I probably could have done it another month. So like, I think that perfect was timing. The max. The max I could have done two roles.
Which I think goes into our next point beautifully of protecting who your primary leader is.
So protecting your primary leader. Very key, obviously, because if you don't do it well, they're definitely not going to be like, oh my gosh, go help that person again.
Yeah. And I think, you know, to that point, it's going to be really important, you know, and I think a lot of people forget about this when they raise their hand and they have really good intentions. And I think it's wonderful when people want to step in. But I think, you know, your current stakeholders should not suffer or have half the experience that they usually have, which is really tough. I understand. But just because you're covering someone, I think it's still going to be very important and key that you communicate with your current leader of, this is my capacity. I'm having trouble with this, and constantly reminding, don't forget, I'm fully supporting X.
Yes.
For the next X amount of time. Is there things maybe that, you know, we can push off a little bit? What can, you know, so I think protecting them while also communicating with them.
Oh, absolutely. And, I raised my hand before I actually let my boss know that I had already agreed and committed to supporting said leader. And not that I did that intentional by any means. Again, once I found out like nobody was going to do it, I was like, they are far too important of a leader to get like stuck with a temp. And not that temps are bad, but you know, so I just was like, I can't do this. This person deserves somebody to help them.
That's a leadership skill, by the way.
And so, you know, when I met with her and just said, hey, I just wanted to let you know, like, I've committed to supporting so-and-so, and, you know, it's going to be for 5 months, and you have this much together with them already. I was already planning to be on 2 or 3 of those trips anyways myself. So, like I said, I felt really good that I could do it.
Sure.
And if I didn't, I certainly wouldn't have thrown my name in the hat. Right. But there were a few misses.
Sure.
Just going to be just random things that I definitely would have caught or done a little better had I not had 2 leaders. They were all very tiny little things, no major catastrophes or anything, but that did happen. And I don't think that my boss thought that wouldn't happen. But like to everybody out there, like I did in fact have some mess ups. But at the end of the day, you know, they both got what they needed from me to make it all work.
Yeah. And I think under this protecting your leader point, I also want to call out, I believe wholeheartedly in this scenario, your primary stakeholder, the one that you are not filling in for, should be deciding whose priorities win, and you not being in that seat, because both leaders are going to need something urgently and someone's going to have to give. And to me, the person that you have as a full-time job 24/7, 365 is the person that should be mitigating that.
Yes.
So
yeah, no, and there were obviously, some things that came up for the secondary leader, and it was so cool to know, like, my boss a few times, like, I know this, like this, they have this going on. And so, get to this when you can. And even having her support in those times was really nice. Because at the end of the day, like, we work as a team.
100%.
And we've said that a million times. It takes a village, an army, however you want to say it, to support these leaders, these C-suites. And, as long as I think your intentions are in the right spot for what you're doing, at the end of the day, everybody's going to understand. So,
agreed. Yeah, and then thinking through the flip side of it was another thing that came to mind. So back to my scenario where when filling in becomes permanent because now said person is not returning from leave, or they've decided to pivot in their career and be a stay-at-home mom, or
which was a joke a few times. And people were like, is so-and-so coming back? I was like, the closer we were getting to that time when she was supposed to come back, and I'm like, are you hearing things? Like, I haven't heard anything that she wasn't. But, so I think they were just pulling my leg, or maybe my secondary leader at that time's leg. But I was like, she better be.
So I think, like, thinking through that, though, because that is a very real possibility.
Oh, it probably happens a lot.
What advice would we give people that are stuck in the supporting on a temporary basis, but then the expectation is set that becomes permanent because now you're in a catch bag. You've proven you can do it for X amount of months. So why can't you just keep doing it when said person doesn't want to come back?
Yeah, I mean, and this obviously would apply to any temp position that people are on, a 6-month contract or anything. I mean, I would say the first thing is, keep, like, your metrics, your data, make sure that you are already, like, tracking all of the good that you've brought into this role. Because I'm guessing for most people, if you're on a temp basis, you're always going to be able to interview for it. So the more you're building your resume literally for the person you're temporarily supporting, I mean, you kind of have an advantage over everybody. And obviously for those that's doing it literally on a fill-in level, you can certainly help screen candidates because now you've also done it, but know that, you're not putting your name in the hat unless you're just like, oh, I'm going to switch over and take this person instead. But I think you also then bring a very unique perspective and can contribute to interviewing and all of that stuff.
And what do you think about when you already have a full-time stakeholder and they want you to remain on as their second leader?
Yeah, not for me, not happening.
That comes from a lens of, I've done that before. It was supposed to be a brief amount of time and ended up being 1.5 years. Looking back in hindsight, I would suggest advocacy for yourself.
Know your limits.
Point of, you know what it takes to do the job. You know what failure is going to look like if you can't do that, and are you okay with failing? And I would say 100% of us don't like failure.
And the leader wouldn't. Neither one of them should want failure as an option for us.
No, and I think that is where it's very important that you are very transparent with whoever it is and saying, I'm really flattered that you would consider me to be able to do this on an ongoing basis, but the reality is I would need X, Y, and Z. I'd need, because I think that some companies to a fault still look at us as a cost savings mechanism.
Oh, absolutely.
And they think if I can get this person to support 2, 3, 4 people at one time,
we're guilty of it now.
100%.
We are guilty of it now.
Yes.
And it really breaks my heart. And this is just 100% honesty. Because a spectacular admin does not mean they can spectacularly
support multiple
people.
Yep.
And something is going to break. Somebody's going to catch the slack of that. You're not getting the all
Yep.
of your assistant.
No.
And so if that is what your expectations are, then you cannot even think to suggest that your admin supports another person.
No.
Because at the end of the day, you can only do so much.
Right.
I don't care how great you are.
Nope.
I don't care if you are totally fine working 10 hours a day. Like, there is always work to do in our jobs. Yep. And I would more or less worry about the mental health of that person. Yep. Because we've mentioned this a million times, like, we're people pleasers, like, we're extremely selfless. Yep. And that person is never going to speak up. Nope. They're never going to admit they can't do it because you've put all this pressure of the, you know, like, you being great.
100%.
And they're just going to, like, end up wearing themselves out, stressing themselves out. Their anxiety is going to build up, and you're doing more harm than good.
100%.
When all you had to do is, you know, just approve whatever for this person to get their own assistant or whatever, it's going to create a lot less for everybody.
And I think some of it comes back to the leader being lazy and not wanting to start over with a new person where they already know you. You've already been doing the job. You've already been helping. And that's all great. And I don't want to pivot from the focus of the conversation, but I feel like this is just important stuff to call out. Is I think that it always sounds great and people go, oh, well, then I can ask for $20,000 more a year. But at the end of the day, to your point, there is no price that is worth your mental health, your well-being. No. You know, things happen, life happens, and sometimes it's really bad things that give you really good clarity that a job title or a raise that big or the notoriety of supporting someone is not really worth what it is that you're having to put out to get that.
Yeah, and I wish even like the leader who's kind of and I don't want to say getting pawned off on, but I wish more of that like second leadership person spoke up more.
Agreed.
And also said, oh my gosh, I love your assistant. Yep. I have no doubt that she or he could do the job and support both of us, but I don't think that's fair.
Right.
You know, I wish more of those conversations were happening because, you know, we're managing people obviously higher up than us. Yep. We are nowhere in the like realm to push back. I mean, we can obviously say, here's my hard,
here's my boundaries.
My boundaries, thank you. But we would never say, I'm not doing that.
No.
I don't think even myself, I mean, I feel pretty confident that I could easily have an open conversation with my leader, but I don't ever see myself saying, I'm not doing that. You know, but hey, the day could come. I don't know. Let's not test that. But you know, like we're just not like we don't want.
It's not who we are.
Yeah, it's not who we are. So I just wish those leaders did a better job of, you know, like, no, I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
Like let's get me somebody else.
Agree.
And figure it out from there.
Agree. Yep. So next point, I think and I think we touched on this a little bit, was documenting what you're doing, you know, while that other person is out, because nothing worse than coming back to, I can't even, like, I get heart palpitations thinking of coming back to 5 months of emails. Like, I can't even imagine how overwhelming that is.
Yeah.
So, like, is it a spreadsheet? Like, what does it look like?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked this because I, too, was dying to know the same answer when the person I was helping came back. And I was like, okay, I'm dying to know, like, how many emails did you have? Like, how, like, did I help? Like, what was it coming back? Right. And she had kind of laughed and she was like, hey, I had my work phone. So obviously I was like getting rid of a lot of stuff that I knew was because nobody, like, she sent out an email to his direct team, right? Like, they knew, and like, they were all very welcoming and like, we're going to help you as much as we can too, like, to just try and save on everybody. So that was really nice, but there's so many people, that we couldn't possibly give everybody a heads up. So even right up until the week before, there was a random person that had never needed to reach out to her that was finding out, like, she was out, right? So that was happening the entire month. Or the entire time. But no, she had said that she was, whether it was weekly, just going through and deleting everything. But she said there was really only 4 things that she came back to that she knew she was going to need to handle, and I gave myself the biggest pat on the back, because all that made me feel was like success. Like, we did it. I, did not like leave her with this giant long list of not my job. Like, you can handle that when it gets back. So to know that there was a extremely small list of her coming back and her actually telling me that no, it was no sweat coming back. Wow. She was not like stressed out, and like, it was easy peasy, just made my heart so happy for her. That, like, because I didn't know, really. I had never done it before. It was a very long time. So I also was like, hey, we'll give it a shot. I don't know how the hell it's gonna go, but it can only be better than nobody, right? So,
a warm body is better than nobody.
No. So it was great. And then, there were a few things on our shared OneNote that, and I think I only had 3 things of like, hey, he's thinking about this trip to China in the future. I haven't done anything for that because I know it could always change. And then something, some other regional thing that needed to be scheduled way out farther. And I'm like, there's no point for me to schedule something that needs to go in November. So
that's amazing. If I had a soundboard with a
like pause button, like, you go, girl.
That's right. Being a baddie. Now you need to just hang the neon sign over your desk, I guess.
No. So, just like doing that as we were on break and stuff, I just felt like this would be a really helpful topic. If you are somebody that would like to eventually end up supporting in the C-suite, every admin is part of an admin team. I mean, look up your organizational reporting and, say, hey, I don't know if you have anybody covering for when you're out, but I would like to see if I have it in me. I'd like to show that I can do it. I want to learn. How can I do that? Step up. And I think you would be surprised, because a lot of us, like, nobody's raising hands to like take on more work and all of that stuff. But if you do have an aspiration, I think it's also important for you as the person wanting to grow into that to be, asking for opportunities.
And I think to the EAs at our level, if you have people who are curious and hungry, don't kill that spirit inside of them, and be welcoming and encouraging. And I think, again, that's where it's really important that when you are in the office, because a lot of us are returned to office now, of being intentional, of introducing people to each other and kind of soft settling into, creating that comfort of maybe they've never interacted with you or the highest leadership team, EA team, or maybe that group as a whole is intimidating, or just thinking through some of that stuff of just being cognizant of like, how can I help foster these relationships where people either feel comfortable filling in my shoes or approaching that team or interacting with them, Because I think at the top it can be a little bit intimidating, but
yeah, and for us, I mean, I feel like, we have to say this, but I mean, the biggest thing is trust.
100%.
We're dealing with a realm of information and emails that come in that are not for everybody to know.
Yeah.
And so I think for us personally, the biggest thing is knowing that you can trust the person that you are literally handing over so much confidential items that if you are known as a gossiper or you have you don't understand or have any social awareness of like what you talk about at work, like you're not going to be on our list of somebody that we feel can help us because if we or our leaders they don't trust us, like we don't have jobs. And we've said that a million times too on this podcast, is trust is everything. And I can't leave my leader's calendar and inbox to somebody who the second they're done, they're going to go run their mouth and be like, oh my gosh, you'll never believe what I seen supporting so-and-so. Like that can't happen.
Yeah. And even as you're sitting there talking about it, I'm thinking about even the buy-in from the team that you work on with other EAs, of getting the buy-in of, it may be a more junior person that's coming in, but even like setting the record straight and having the respect for your peers enough to say, hey, these are the two people that I'm thinking of. Does anybody have concern?
Yes. Or is there something we should know? Like,
have you had a bad interaction? Have you seen them not be confidential? Have they ever broken your trust? Is there something that maybe I might not be aware of?
Right.
Or, so that kind of just clicked in my brain as you were saying that. But I was like, I don't know if I would ever think to do that before you were just saying that.
So I hope this, I
hope it was helpful.
I hope you learned something. Yeah. I hope that those of you listening, we just gave you a way to grow and figure out your work path. If being a admin's on your radar.
I mean, I feel empowered that now I need to have coverage from someone.
Yeah,
so
I hope so. I hope so, because at the end of the day, we all deserve a vacation.
Yes.
And at least one uninterrupted one, right?
Yeah, I agree. But it was good to see everybody again, through my microphone and online. And hopefully the season is kicking off strong. I feel like they've been really good topics so far. So again, we would love to open it up to anyone who would be interested to come in and talk about anything.
Yes. You got a topic you want to hear us ramble on about?
Yeah. I've had a couple people mention to me some things that they would like to talk to. So I'm going to add them to the scroll of a list of things that we want to cover this season, but would love to give you the platform. But hope everybody has a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
That's it for us today, bringing order to corporate chaos.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that follow button.
Yours truly, Melissa
and Michelle, the Biz-y Baddies. Got it.